Welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you, and thanks for checking out the channel. Hope you're doing fantastic out there. Your Miami Heat, they lose tonight to the Milwaukee Bucks 121-115 in overtime as the Miami Heat get fed a 36-point triple-double by Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak, today. Tremendous, especially in the second half, to take this one home for the Bucks. Really the catalyst. A lot of worry Miami had on him tonight. And 36 points, 15 rebounds, 10 assists today for Antetokounmpo. And a huge game off the bench for Milwaukee from Kevin Porter Jr. He ends up scoring the would-be dagger in overtime. Miami got off to a pretty strong start in overtime. Bam Adebayo with some big buckets. But, it just seemed like there was an answer every single time. And then the game in OT really got lost after Giannis Antetokounmpo was called for an offensive foul. Milwaukee ended up challenging it. Credit to Doc Rivers for having that in his back pocket. They end up calling Davion Mitchell for the foul. The Heat get the ball back, but they take that right away, and Davion Mitchell has a rough turnover that ends up right in the Bucks' hands, that ends up in a Giannis slam. They go up 117-115. Bam Adebayo, who had a couple of strong buckets there after having a incredible start to the game. Bam Adebayo came out like gangbusters in this one. 3 first-quarter three-pointers today for the captain, Bam Adebayo. He would have 15 points after the first quarter, and a great first half where he'd finished with 23 points. Would slow up a lot in regulation, and I don't know if that was just a case of the Bucks switching and putting Giannis on him a little bit more, him being worn down from trying to slow down Giannis Antetokounmpo, or what it was, but he just didn't have that same effectiveness up until he got to overtime. He got off to a nice start, and then that fadeaway rolling out in that final minute was a huge one. Duncan Robinson would follow it up with a bucket that was no good, and then KPG spin move over Duncan, 119-115. That was really the final nod. There was some histrionics there at the end. Spo was getting really pissed off at the officials. But the moment you're going to look to this game, frustrating as it was to blow it, Miami goes up 107-100 with about 3 minutes left in the game. Brook Lopez comes back. He rattles in a bucket. KPJ, rattles in a three ball to bring it to within 2. There's about 2 minutes left in the game. Burks gets fouled. Heat go up 4. He hits both of his free throws, and then AJ Green goes to the free throw line. He's fouled shooting a 3-ball. Now, he only makes 2 out of 3, but still careless mistake by Miami. A lot of careless mistakes there at the end, and they go up 2. Heat not able to contain. Brook Lopez gets freed willy-nilly. He ties things up. Kyle Anderson put Miami back up with some free throws, and then Brook Lopez right again with scoring a bucket. Should be noted, as you heard, a lot of Kyle Anderson, a lot of Duncan Robinson. No Khalil Ware to speak of, other than a brief moment there in the fourth quarter to give Bam Adebayo a rest. He was in foul trouble a lot tonight. Spo did not go back to him other than to give Bam a blow. Bam did end up playing 43 minutes tonight. So, what are you talking about? 5 minutes of total rest for Bam today. That's not a ton. I guess 9 total minutes, right? Because it's 48 minutes plus 5 is 53. All right, so I got 10 total minutes of rest today, if you include the overtime. But he played a lot in the second half. And I feel like that had a little bit to do with why he wasn't as effective in the second half, because he could have missed in the first half. It was all ran for him. Tied a career high in 3-point makes in a game. Tied a first time he's ever made 3 in a quarter before. But that just that attack wasn't there from an effectiveness there in the second half. And for Miami, that was definitely a tough thing to bear. Yeah, Bam played in the second half. He got about 3.5 minutes of rest. He played all of the third quarter. And he got... Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. He played 11 minutes. So he got 1 minute of rest in the fourth quarter and 2 minutes rest in the fourth quarter. So he got a little rest there at the end and the beginning of the fourth. But, I don't want to harp on old stuff. Like, I get it. Kalel was in foul trouble today. Part of it, though, to me is like, I do think it's important for him to work these things out. I thought that he had some really nice buckets when he was out there today. I thought that he had some great second chance points. I think he makes things easier. Clearly, Lopez got more comfortable, even with some of the fouls. You're dealing with Giannis Antetokounmpo. The kid is going to be fouled when it comes to Giannis. And when you get to a point there in the fourth quarter, I just think it's important to have that size out there, especially with that lineup that you're going up against. But that's my big lineup quibble for this game. I still think, even with as much as Eric's supposed to trust Kyle Anderson, and Kyle Anderson had a good game, a team like this that has those two guys, I think it's important to get your true center back out there when you feel like the coast is clear, because you're going to foul Giannis. Everybody fouls Giannis. And you had some dumb fouls all over the place. Alec Burks, great effort by him with no Tyler Hero. Miami, fourth game they don't have Tyler Hero this year. 0-4 without Tyler Hero this year. But Alec Burks did step up in a big, big way. 24 points for him. 6 3-pointers today from downtown. Duncan Robinson, he was especially huge in the third quarter. I think he was the catalyst for a lot of things offensively for Miami. He was finding a lot of guys, was being unselfish. Just seemed like he had a lot, all of that working for him. Now, this is a guy who's playing with a bad back. Burks is banged up a little bit too, and Spell mentioned after the game today that he probably played those guys a few too many minutes. And Spo said today after the game, he's like, I don't want to make any excuse that you don't have anybody. But then, they don't have Tyler, they don't have Wiggins, and and you lose that effort of and he even mentioned Nico today, which I thought was interesting because they haven't had Nico since they've lost Nico months ago. So while he's not mentioning it and then mentioning the ad factors, he is mentioning it about the whole, usually it's a we have enough type of thing. And it's like it is, but it isn't. And while Milwaukee is also, of course, dealing with the catastrophic injury of not having Damian Lillard, so I'm not taking anything away from them. Yeah, it's a disappointing one. It's a disappointing one for Miami. I think, you go back-to-back games here. It just feels all too reminiscent. Like, it felt like Miami had shaken a lot of this good stuff, and obviously the Boston win felt very good. These last two, though, you lose the John Morant game. Great game back and forth. You lose at the buzzer. Okay. You lose this game. You lose to Giannis Antetokounmpo in a game where it's like, all right, could you find your way out of the 9-10 and only have to win one playing game? It's important. And now Miami has lost 2 straight again. And they're probably going to have to win 2 playing games to make the playoffs now, which they are playing better. I agree with the coach. But it's obviously dicier, and you have to finish ahead of Chicago. They're now back down to 10th, so both these games are set right now to be on the road. Their final week of games is against very weak opposition: Sixers, Bulls, Pelicans, Wizards. I mean, 3 out of 4 of those, you couldn't ask for bigger layups for Miami. Atlanta and Orlando, are they playing tonight? I think they might be. Let me see. Tomorrow. No. Hold on. Yeah, that was the weird thing. They're off until the weekend. That's kind of strange. Atlanta has to play tomorrow. They play the Jazz, so Atlanta's not going to lose tomorrow. But, Miami's not going to catch Orlando. Very unlikely. They're 3 back in the loss column on them, and they're 2 back of Atlanta. Suppose one of them could get swept and you could get back in there, but Miami's up against it. Miami's up against it because Atlanta's got 2 against Orlando. They got 5 games left, 2 against Orlando, but then the other ones are Utah, Brooklyn, Philadelphia. So if they have 3 losses in there, that's a surprise. And then they have to finish ahead of Chicago. Well, okay, they have 1 game against Chicago. Then they got Charlotte, Cleveland, Washington, Miami. So even with Miami going 4-0 right now, even if Miami were to finish the season 39-43, it looks like Chicago, I mean, other than losing to Miami in that case, would be even, and you'd be stuck going on the road twice. That's probably looking like the most likely thing after dropping tonight. So it was a big, big loss for Miami. It was a big win for Milwaukee, who jumps up now to 5th. So they're set up for a series with the Pacers. Detroit, they lose. They are heading towards the series with the Knicks. So yeah, man, this was a tough one. This was a tough one for Miami to take on the chin. Yes, shorthanded. Yes, back-to-back gut punches. Yes, Giannis Antetokounmpo is awesome, but you have a lead with 3 minutes left. You get out to a slight lead in overtime, and I just the lack of execution kills you there. And I'm sure that there are guys worn down and feeling the ramifications of it. And I think also with Spo talking about guys playing a little bit too much, and again, I don't mean to make it simplistic, but you're just leaving your 7'1" rookie out there. Okay, you got into foul trouble against Giannis Antetokounmpo. A lot of guys do. Let him go out there, let him battle Brook Lopez. Otherwise, and let him be a presence there, so it's not just Duncan Robinson caught onto the rim. Like you gotta let a kid like this finish games like get out. It's important. It's important because what else are you playing for the rest of the season for real? I think that's a silly decision, but it is what it is. It's not the main reason they lost. It's not the only reason they lost, but it's probably the thing I come away most frustrated with at the end of it is like, what are you doing? You can quibble over it. Bam, taking a while to get going in the second half again after having an amazing first half. Dumb fouls, bad turnovers. There weren't many of them, but they were backbreakers when they happened. And that lack of execution hurt Miami tonight. And, they can't win games without Tyler Hero, too. That's another thing. Few and far between as they've been. Tyler's been very durable, but whenever he's missed, they've lost. So that's your story for tonight. Looks like the Heat are headed for the 9-10 play-in and are going to need to win 2 playing games to make the postseason this year.